And what kind of player am I? Am I an offensive man or a defensive man? That's right, I'm neither. I play my opponent. If he likes to attack, I force him to defend himself. If he's a cautious man, I draw him into dangerous water. See, you get so frustrated playing defensive positions, you make stupid moves you never make if you were thinking. When you come here, boy, check that shit at the door,
I'm at the top of my game, cut the check. Somebody better king me, I'm the best. Let's play a game of checkers. Better yet, the game don't love nobody. Let's play chess.
I keep forgetting when I'm in love with you now. I keep forgetting things will never be the same again. I keep forgetting how you made that so clear. I keep forgetting things will never be the same.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast. Another episode. We're going to have a fiery show for you today as we delve into the happenings here in New Hampshire and our weekly Citizen DOGE report. We're going to have Mike and Andy here in studio, and then we're going to delve into some of the current events happening in national politics, things that have been going on for the last week, and updates. And I swear this administration is going at a neck-breaking pace so far, and let's see if we can keep up. Next week, we'll be delving into things going on with RG3 and the Diddy trial and all of that before we head into Strong Dad June, in which I will be having Strong Dad on the podcast, along with many guests to talk about fatherhood, divine masculinity, the role of fathers in communities and in the country as a whole, creating a foundation for society. So, without further ado, we got Mike from Citizen DOGE and Andy from Citizen DOGE. Mike worked on the Trump campaign and the Trump transition team during 2024 election cycle, and Andy was working on the Lily Tang Williams congressional race, and now they have teamed up to set up New Hampshire for the future by building a grassroots army initiative, one-stop shop to get shit done. What's up, guys?
What's going on? Thanks for having us again.
I'm so happy to have you guys back in studio, and I'm loving having this Citizen DOGE. I was just pitching earlier today in the Punch Bowl with Bishop and Miss G and Margot the Citizen DOGE and the impact it can have here in New Hampshire. And I was like, I suggest all of you, contact them and, start building your own nationwide.
Yes.
So we can start taking things over.
Absolutely, and thanks for having us. We love being on the show. You've been doing a great job so far. The way we set it up, too, Citizen DOGE, it can be any state, so we kind of left it like that. Obviously, we live in New Hampshire, so we want to make New Hampshire great again, and live free or die, as the motto goes. But realistically, you can have a Citizen DOGE Massachusetts, Citizen DOGE in New York. It's just basically the people rising up, but we want to have it systematic way that so we could be the source of resources for them. We can connect, grow our groups. So, people don't feel lonely when they're trying to go to the school board meeting. They don't know exactly what they're trying to do. We can be that guiding force for them.
So you're talking about building a infrastructure for the grassroots from the ground up that lasts not just during the election, the official election cycle, when the state GOPs or national GOP decides, all right, start your engines. You're talking about let's keep building at your school board, zoning board, town council, city council, mayor, statewide races, state reps, all of it.
Yeah, actually. I mean, and as we've gone to some meetings, stuff like that, we realize that the infrastructure is lacking, right? And you've been in politics for a while. I mean, the infrastructure on the Republican side, just in general, is lacking, even across the country, right? So the people need to step up and get involved, and we can almost just kind of override the system and have a grassroots army of citizens do, and that's kind of the point of the group is Citizen DOGE. So that's the aspect of it. But realistically, it's not just about going and finding waste, fraud, and abuse, and we'll go into some of it. Some of it's low-hanging fruit you can easily find. But as you mentioned, like getting involved, running not only for national politics, but your local school board, counselor, treasurer, whatever it is in your local community, and then you can obviously branch out to state rep and Congress and stuff like that.
Yeah, the tricky thing with the left is that they control so much of they have such command over the messaging, and they control so many of the mechanisms to get their messaging out, and they control the money, that in response to that, the grassroots and the party, whether it's the Republican Party or anybody else who's pushing it back against what the left is doing, they have to be united in purpose and aware of each other all the time. And if, the 2026 elections, granted they're a long ways away, but if they start to turn against the people who want to preserve the live free or die way of life, we think it's going to be a lot to be concerned about, so we want to start early.
But are they really that far away? Because I like these election cycles feel like as soon as the last one ended, the next one began.
Yeah.
And while we may be taking vacations, and the average person may be taking vacations, going back to work, getting sucked in their daily lives, there's still always things happening behind the scenes. There's still the political games being played in D.C., being played in the State House, in the Capitol and everything, and even in our local towns, where just because you tuned out doesn't mean it stopped. And I what you guys are doing is so important, because now we can finally build that grassroots army that is going to stay engaged and stay informed and never tune out, because as Benjamin Franklin said, a republic if you can keep it. Well, we haven't been keeping it very well, and we've been depending, it seems like, especially since Donald Trump came on the scene, it's like we watched in 2016, we elected him, and everyone's like, all right, we got him in office. That's good, right? We can just go back to our daily lives, and we can go back to sleep, and he'll be able to fight on his own. And then we found out, wow, the deep state, which is really just the conglomerate of people acting in their own interests, whether ideological, political, or fame and personal advancement, are all leaning in one direction, and it sure as hell isn't transparency, accountability, efficiency, or efficacy.
We saw the resistance marshal up after Trump came into office last time, but when he came into office this time, we knew that the storm was coming, and it was coming on even more fronts. And so grassroots is, in that respect, even more important now than we think than it was 8 or 9 years ago.
Oh, most definitely, especially because you see at the national level, you got Trump. He's built his entire cabinet. He's fired all the old people. They're cutting staff at a friggin' neck-breaking pace. It is absolutely fantastic to see the bureaucracy take so many hits to the gonads the way they are right now. And then on top of it, now we're building up this grassroots army here in New Hampshire, and we're actually going to be able to affect some change so that when we get good people in office at the federal level, they have backup at the state. And that's really where it is the state level can flip the finger to the federal government and tell the federal government to piss off, like protecting our gun rights. Protecting our elections, protecting our schools and stuff like that. So what do you guys got up? We got a couple things on here. So you guys had a protest this week. Jake Sullivan came to New Hampshire. And for those who don't know who Jake Sullivan is, why don't you guys give him a rundown?
So the quick rundown about Jake Sullivan is, first, the thing to know is that he is the husband of Maggie Goodlander, who is the new congresswoman for District 2. He is also a longtime protege of the ruling elite in Washington, D.C., who has, among other things, been on the staffs of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, and he served as Joe Biden's national security advisor, I believe, for the duration of the Biden administration. He has had his fingers in the pie in some way of almost every major foreign policy disaster incurred under a Democrat administration since at least 2011, 2012. He has been deliberately dodgy about being accountable for his role in any of these actions and decisions that have not yielded good results. And even just the day before, we had a group of 6 of us at UNH Franklin Pierce Law, peacefully, silently, mostly silently, holding signs, welcoming him to the commencement. He was in another forum someplace, being nonspecific about who his wife is. he was answering some question about Joe Biden and Joe Biden's cognitive capacity and being characteristically dodgy about it, and said something about, well, I wasn't really involved with that in any way. I had to be outside the scene because there she is right there. We actually had some exchanges with that policeman, too, as well. He was a very friendly guy. He was a good sport. He knew that we were there to not be so accommodating and friendly to to what we called him Mr. Goodlander. One of the signs that we had actually said, "Welcome, Mr. Goodlander." We thought that was there he is.
There he is,
Welcome
right
back
there.
from our cameraman Andy, the other Andy we've got on our Citizen DOGE team. But he won't even say, Maggie Goodlander is my wife in a public
embarrassing.
forum. It's just really crazy, which tells you that they want to play politics to advance their own interest and stay part of this ruling elite that's run our country for a long time.
So that's shady on a whole nother level, right? So like, you're not even publicly willing to admit that your wife is your wife because being attached to you is such a slap in the face that people, once they find out, they're gonna raise holy hell that you're coming here to stump in New Hampshire at a law school. And you guys were out there showing that you guys just don't represent the live free or die attitude and ethos that New Hampshire has, and that Maggie Goodlander definitely does not represent New Hampshire at all.
They have a home in Portsmouth.
Okay.
And on a technicality, this is delving into all the stuff that I did when Lily was running against Maggie. So they've had a home in Portsmouth for some time, but they knew that they had to put up at least the appearance of having a domicile in District 2 for Maggie to run for Congress. Now, of course, New Hampshire state law enables them to have a residence in the state without it having to be in Maggie's district.
Yep.
But nonetheless, they wanted the appearances to be on the level to the people who were going to Circle D on the ballot. So they have been renting an apartment in Nashua, which I understand is not the nicest part of Nashua, but it's neither here nor there. And as far as we know, the apartment has never been
Probably never
walked
been
into.
occupied, right?
Never been occupied.
Don't even have the key to it. Yeah.
That is such a common play, and it happens all over the country. My buddy was running, Joe Collins III was running against Maxine Waters, and she has her place in San Francisco, right? But she has this place in LA that is basically like a crack house that she this property that she rents out, and it's like, yeah, I'm a resident of
living
LA.
there. Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, no, you don't. You don't live here. You're not. It's not like
can't
you're
see
going
that.
to get your
Yeah.
hair done down the block. Like, you're not hanging out at the fried chicken spot in LA. Like, what are you talking about? This is bullshit.
And meanwhile, the Tamposies, like, they've got a long history of being New Hampshire upper crust. So they can do better.
It's just, it baffles me that this stuff continues to skate under the radar. And I felt like during the last election cycle, no matter how loud the grassroots were screaming, this is Jake Sullivan's wife. Is anybody paying attention to this chick? And it was just like, well,
Silence.
yeah. And it felt like after the primary, I know we did the unity breakfast and everyone got behind their candidates, but it really felt like as soon as the primary was over, support went out the window.
Everyone
There was
checked out,
zero infrastructural support for Lily Tang Williams or Russell Prescott, and they were sort of running their race. And it was like, are any of you paying attention? I can't even tell you how many people I ran into, and I was like, hey, are you guys going to go vote? And they're like, what do you mean we're going to go vote? I'm like,
There's an election?
there's an election in a couple weeks, and they're like, well, who's on the ballot? I'm like, oh God, please.
Yeah.
I'm like, and the crazy part would be like, it would be people wearing like, MAGA hats. They'd be wearing Trump stuff, and I'm like, do you know who's on the ballot? Like, honestly, I have no idea, man, but I do know Trump's on the ballot. I was like, how good is Trump going to be if you don't get him backup, man?
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to get shit done if he doesn't have backup.
Yeah, and and to your point, that's exactly what I was saying towards the end of the election. Obviously, I was on the Trump campaign. I wanted everyone to go out and support Trump. But I was literally screaming from the rooftop, you guys got to help the local candidates, too. You got to help back Lily, Prescott, whoever that nominee is. And they just we're all about Trump 24/7.
Yeah.
And we got Trump, but our state's all messed up. So
Yeah.
we're here to bring the grassroots to the state and try to fix it.
And I'll protect the innocent here, but there was a local GOP that I spoke at as a surrogate maybe 2 or 3 weeks before Election Day in November. And when I read them Maggie Goodlander's bio and all of her connections, most eyebrows in the room went up.
Of course.
And I thought to myself, this should have been common
There should have been
knowledge to all the
common
politically
knowledge by
engaged.
now, right?
The moment that she filed in June.
Like,
and-
how are you in the meetings? You're the people who are here, and you don't even know what's going on. That's
Right.
That's a scary concept, and it happens more often than I wish it did. And I brag going around the country about how New Hampshire voters are like some of the most informed voters out there. But obviously that's on a scale, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there going, if we're the most informed voters, because politics in New Hampshire is a cutthroat. It's the first in the nation is the Super Bowl for us. I'm like, and then all of a sudden it's like, so do you know who your state rep is? Nope. Do you know who your congressman is? Nope. Do you know who the governor is? Nope.
So actually, a couple people we know didn't even know the governor.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
Yeah, and it would be like, I can't even tell you how many people. And I'm going to start doing street interviews because this needs to happen. And I'd like to partner up with you guys doing that. Because
Yeah,
we
we've
need to
done a
start
couple
asking-
interviews
Oh,
already,
yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, I want to do some street interviews, but you guys had a video
Yep.
from the protest. Now, is this the first protest or the second protest?
The second protest. So there was two
Okay.
different events. So whenever we cue that up, but I'll talk about it. So yeah, Andy led the protest at UNH against Maggie and Jake Sullivan. There was another one the next day with Rachel Levine. So
Okay.
if you guys don't know Rachel Levine, she was the Health and Human Service Secretary under Biden. She probably did some other stuff in the past.
Yeah, there it goes. The creature right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
The dude thing chick person.
So this gentleman or woman was getting an honorary degree from an all-women's college. You can't make this up. In Massachusetts, right?
What world are we living in?
You just
Where
can't
you
make it
got
up.
like what world are we living in? Where the best woman is a dude? Literally,
Well, you see it in
Democrats.
sports too, right? It's like
I got
these
it.
men
I
are
know.
winning.
I was going to talk about it till later, but it plays into this. Hillary Clinton had a statement this week where she was lambasting Republican women as being supportive of the patriarchy, and that it will be a handmaiden's tale if we ever have a female president. I'm like, I'm just throwing out there a female president. That would be the most powerful woman in the world. And you're telling me that she's still going to somehow be a cuck for her husband? What fantasy land are we living in? And then at the same time, the woman who lambasts the patriarchy is propping up the patriarchy right there. Like, we beat you at being women. Dudes are so awesome. We're better women than you. Like, what message are we sending to young girls that you can work your entire life to climb the ladder and you could be, it's like the Nike commercial. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you,
No, you can't.
except apparently be a woman.
Yeah. It was. So yeah, you can't make this up. So we had a group of individuals go to that college and same thing, kind of protest. And what's crazy, and I want to mention this, is for the Jake Sullivan event and this event, we were the only ones on this. Like our
Really?
group in our circles. Yeah. Nobody
Where
else
was the
showed up.
GOP? Where's the New
Non-existent.
Hampshire GOP? Non-existent.
Literally non-existent. And I was putting it out a couple days before. Everybody on this. Even I came on last week's show.
Yep.
Candidates on this. Everyone, like Lily, all these other people, get on this, show up, and we were the only ones there. And you know what?
The old GOP chairs, both of them, scheduled protests for major events like this when people from the Biden administration were coming to New Hampshire. And we had protests. We had protests in Merrimack. We had protests up at UNH. We had protests at Dartmouth. We had protests all over the state. We had protests in Portsmouth. Where is the New Hampshire GOP when we need them? And I'm like, look, I don't have anything personal against people, but like these are missed opportunities.
Oh,
here.
100%. Yeah, very And so, and I even put out a post and was saying, we don't mind leading this charge. That's fine, but we need help. We need backup. We need people to show up, because it can't be just me and Andy out there every time holding a flag, or waving a sign. It's like, we need 20, 30. Imagine if Jake Sullivan walked by and there was 200 or 300 people.
There should have been.
You know what I mean? And it'd be like, oh shit, but it was 6 people, so they're like, oh hey, and they were shaking hands, and like it almost made a joke out of it. But it actually turned out okay, because people respected what we were doing. But if we had 200 or 300 people, that would really make a statement to the college, make a statement to the students, like, oh shit, okay. But regardless, so we did another event the next day protesting Rachel Levine getting honorary degree. And then there was a liberal I don't even know, breakdown or whatever you want to call it. She just lost her mind. So I don't know if we can pull up that video.
And that looks like another dude person thing.
Well, peep the shirt. So we'll play the video and then I'll
Looks like me in the background.
Fascist. Fucking. I don't give a fuck who you are. The fact that you feel this way makes you completely immoral, intolerant of anybody. I don't care if you have a fucking master's degree. I don't care if you feel like you're tall and proud. Go fuck yourselves. This is absolutely fucking disgusting. I can't believe you. And you can take your fucking Blue Lives Matter flag with you. You're welcome.
Mentally unstable.
Nobody else, the fucking flags out front. Nobody cares. Yeah.
Mentally unstable. I mean, what?
Matters, right? Everybody look the fuck away.
Screaming, swearing.
All over Northampton, right?
These people have mental instability issues. Like, therapy, mental health is a serious issue in this country.
Your chest snapped. You're telling yourself.
It's like down the street screaming.
And now people are starting to chime in.
I don't think these people realize that
This
they
guy's
are
just walking down the street like, what is going on?
I don't think these people realize that they're actually
you'll be all
doing
over the
themselves a
internet, all of you.
disservice.
Yep, don't worry. You've proven yourself. No problem.
I don't think these people realize they're doing a disservice to their own ideology right there. Like, when you're so messed up and you've just lost it to the level that you can't even make it a couple steps without turning around and continuing to scream. And then you got to scream at people across the street and random passersby because of some other people. It's like, how dare you just walk by and let these people do their free speech thing over here?
Yeah,
What
and to
the
give some
hell?
context of it, so like I said, we had a couple people there with signs. There was maybe 6 of us there, and we had women's rights signs or 1% of Blue Lives Matter sign or flag. We weren't doing anything. We were just sitting there, and just unhinged liberal just lost her mind. She was wearing a Transformers shirt, and then like.
That is perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
so
I mean, you can't even make it up. But we're there
Damn
protecting.
Decepticons. You guys got assaulted by a Decepticon right there.
I'm surprised she didn't transform into something. Who knows? But
I just don't get it, because it's not like you were telling them that they are not allowed to exist. You weren't telling them that they're going to burn in hell.
No.
You're not telling them that they're not human. You were just there to protest.
a woman getting a degree, or a man getting a degree from an all-women's school. She should be the one upset, right? It's like, oh, why is this dude getting, all this praise from an all-women's school?
Yeah, like you're. This is where, like, I
it's
always
all
say,
flipped, man.
and this is where I always say that, like, the feminist movement goes in certain waves, right? You got the first wave, you got equal rights. Second wave, you got normalization. Third wave is militancy. And fourth wave is regression. We're in third and fourth wave. You have militant feminists, the I don't need a man, I hate men, down with the patriarchy, all men are shit. Then you have the regression. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. I'm like, do you really want to do you want to be an oil rigger? Do you want to be in combat getting shot at? Do you want to exchange? Do you want our suicide rates? Do you want our homelessness and unemployment rates? Do you want our drug addiction rates? Do you want to be a victim of violent crime as often as we are? Like, because those are the stats you got to look forward to. Why are you exchanging the best of what it is to be a woman for the worst of what it is to be a man? And then you're allowing dudes to step on the legacy that women built over the course of the last 100 years. So it's like everything women have fought for in this country, the Transformers and Decepticons are trying to wind back the clock and going, hey, if I identify as a woman today, then those are my accolades and I get to take them from you. And I'm like, fuck you.
And the sad part of all of it too is like, why aren't women standing up? Right? That's the saddest part. Like, you have an all women's college. I mean, this should be a disgrace. They should have like been upset at the school and like had this person canceled.
Why weren't there a crowd of women out there saying?
There was about 6 people, like legit 6 of us, and then we get yelled at from a crazy and liberal.
Like, why? There should have been a massive crowd of women out there, liberal women. Like, I'm not even saying you got to be conservative. If you're a Democrat, a liberal woman, a conservative woman who believes in at least first and second wave feminism, that you should have your rights and those rights should be normalized.
Yeah.
Why aren't you out there protesting against the dude that is taking your accolades and everything you fought for? They're in your bathrooms, your locker rooms. They're taking your jobs. They're women. They're now the women of the year by just claiming to be a woman.
Literally.
And they're taking your awards, your scholarships. Like, how much? Come on, man. How many women got to get hurt in sports for actual women to stand, like for other women to stand up and support them?
And what you see from this example, this snapshot, is that the ideology is more important than the pro-woman side of it.
That's exactly what it is. It's the politics. Is the left has created this conglomerate of different ideologies to all work together towards their goal of Marxism. Because if you look at the underlying fabric of each one of these organizations, it's down with the nuclear family, down with the patriarchy, down with capitalism. But if you listen to all their arguments, this is why we need socialism. This is why we need to get rid of capitalism, because systemic racism, or because of sexism and misogyny, or because of your unaccepting and your inhuman lack of tolerance towards trans Decepticon people. And I'm like,
Transformers.
I'm like, bro, I agree that you have the right to live your life however you want to live it. I agree that you have the right to do whatever you want to do in your bedroom. I agree that you have the exact same rights I do up until you infringe upon my rights to the same. I do not agree that you have the right to subvert my rights, or that you have the right to talk to my kids about the shit that you do. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, if anyone's going to indoctrinate my kids, it's going to be me. And I will teach them tolerance. Not acceptance, tolerance. Because my kids are not going to advocate for a lifestyle they know to be false or ultimately self-destructive. Like, just transitioning increases your likelihood of suicide, drug addiction, and all of that for, I think it's well over 90% at this point.
Yeah.
But you guys are doing fantastic work. And I know you have another announcement for another thing you guys got coming up. What's that?
Yes, we are going to be the principal sponsor at the Belknap County GOP Committee cruise aboard the Mount Washington on Friday, May 30th. I believe the times are 5:30 to 9 p.m. I think boarding is 5:30 p.m. We hope to make some good connections aboard the ship with people who are not only in the Belknap County Committee but in the state committee. We're going to give their pitch about why the party and some of the county committees can use their services and use our help and use our contacts and strengthen the push of the Republican Party over the course of the next 18 months up until the midterms.
And that's on June 6th, right? So let's go ahead and throw that up there so people can see that.
Well, June 6th is our action meeting.
So that's
we have
the
a lot
action
of stuff
meeting.
going on, man.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff.
So you have the Belknap County cruise
That's
on
May
Lake
30th.
Winnipesaukee on May 30th, and then you have the cruise. Then you have the action summit on the 6th, right?
Yep.
All right, let's throw out the action summit and tell us about that.
Action.
The action summit, the Citizen DOGE action summit.
That's right. I can talk about it while we get it.
It's all good.
So we have a monthly meeting that we're going to be doing just to keep everyone up to date. Here it is. Perfect. Yeah, so monthly meeting to keep, everyone up to date, bring everybody together. Our last meeting, we had 4 different speakers from a wide variety of different groups. Even we had a Democrat who is part of a group called Walkaway, and Brandon Straka's group. And so we're, we had a women's rights group come. So we're coalescing the grassroots movements, as we talked about before, giving wide diversity. Some people, might not have liked other people, but we all going to respect each other's opinion and see how we can work forward. And that's part of what we're trying to do. We're not going to all agree on everything, but we're here 90%. We agree on 90% of the stuff, right? It's like, we're all Republicans. Okay.
Yeah.
Or at least believe in what Trump is doing or some of the things. So we're going to agree on 90% of the things. So why can't we work together? And so this is our job here, is like kind of bring the focus in with the grassroots and
Get everybody firing
everyone
in the
together.
same
Because you had
direction.
all these groups doing different things during the day of the election. And at one point they were fighting with each other. And we can't have that when the Democrats are organizing, right? So we're trying to do our best, and we've seen good results so far in the last 2 months that we've been doing this. But anyway, so we're doing a monthly action meeting, bring people together, have speakers from Turning Point USA, who's going to be coming into the state. I have a state rep speaking, and then a gentleman from the Constitution Party as well.
Nice.
And then we're going to talk about some DOGE action stuff. So it's going to be a good time. We're going to do some interviews. So it's going to be a fun night, just getting together, networking as well. And Andy can go into some of the Citizen DOGE report stuff. But yeah, so I'm excited about our meeting coming up.
Fantastic. Oh, okay.
Yep. I actually have a written testimonial here from one of our devoted and committed members that I might
right.
read if you don't mind.
Hell yes.
So this is from Mike Belanger of Wilton, who left us a testimonial saying, and quote, I first got fired up after hearing Keith Hansen speak, and joining Citizen DOGE with Michael and Andy. I felt an obligation to get involved and make a difference in my own town. I began attending school board meetings where only about 10 people showed up. Again, these tend to be attended lightly. That's when I realized how easily wasteful spending can pass unnoticed. One item in particular stood out: $5,000 for busing students to Logan Airport. I asked why taxpayers were paying for it, and after others joined in, the board removed it from the town budget. That powerful moment proved to me how powerful local engagement can be. I've started building connections with others in town and plan to bring more residents to future meetings. There's so much waste happening, and most people have no idea. If we show up, ask questions, and stay united and respectful, we can hold the system accountable. Change starts at home. That's kind of our motto. And, Mike's, I think I can say this, he's become a good friend of both of ours. And
Yeah, Mike actually hosts
big
our
supporter.
meeting, and he actually said, hey, if I'm going to be part of your group, I need to go and test this myself, right? And that's kind of what we're all going to be doing. And he showed up at a school meeting, never been to one before, didn't really know what he was doing, and he got $5,000 stricken out of a budget. And this is a small town, so $5,000 means a lot.
Hell yeah.
And so there's like all this low-hanging fruit that you can just say, hey, what is going on here? Like I spoke with my town GOP, and they spend $1 million a year on the school library. It's like, okay, libraries are, sure, it's for the kids, and, it is a landmark in the town, great. But do we need to be spending $1 million? And are there other ways to fund this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Can we have endowments, or maybe we do fundraisers, or just other things to think about?
Or is the money even being spent correctly? Is it being spent efficiently?
Efficiently, yeah. And so, this is a good story just for somebody just going out with not really any knowledge, but just showed up at a meeting and, oh, wow, I got $5,000 taken out. So imagine he goes to the next meeting and say something, he finds something else, in getting more people involved in this thing. So this is really starting to take off, and people are starting to get energized. After you get a couple early wins, creates momentum, right? And then other people see it. So this is a great start.
And that's what the DOGE in our name, we hope, is a sort of an echo of what's been going on in Washington, D.C., which is that, once so many of these news items about waste, particularly through USAID, started to hit the news wires, I think most people, I certainly count myself among this group anyway, began to realize just how many of these suspicious items really are euphemisms for like really crazy things. And, the fact that one meeting after our first inaugural meeting this month, somebody who's one of our top members was able to find this in his own town budget. God only knows how big that iceberg really is.
Oh yeah, and this is, like I said, this is a very small town, and we've had other stories from other people, making a difference in their town, and they weren't even part of our group; they were just out on their own. So now they have a group they can connect with and share their story with, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring in people that have seen things, or they're questioning what's going on in their town. Have them speak and share. Write in a testimony to us, and we'll share it on the air. We'll get it out there. This is a great idea.
I don't think people realize how big this is, because I remember in 2020, right? Going into 2020 election integrity, COVID, all that stuff was really, really big, and you had all these different niche issues that brought people into the fold.
Yeah.
And one by one, as each niche issue sort of got quiet during the Biden administration, all of a sudden these groups just fell off, and all the activists that popped up during these little skirmishes fell off. And people get discouraged when they see that even the leadership of the groups start to fall off and start to lose focus. And bringing people around the table, and I've said it many, many, many times on air with Keith Hansen, that Republicans will agree on 9 out of 10 things and kill each other over the one thing we disagree
Literally,
on.
yeah.
And Democrats will agree on 9 out of 10 things, and they'll work on the 9 things that they can get done, and they'll just push the 10th thing off until after they've beaten the Republicans, and they're the only ones who control everything.
Correct.
And now we're actually at the point now where they've successfully gotten so much of what they wanted that now they're on those like last 2 or 3 things, and they're starting to kill each other over them. And right now, this is the perfect opportunity, because they've gone so far out there, way out there on a limb, for Republicans, conservatives, independents, everyone who wants to return to reasonable dialogue and actual solutions to get activated locally, get activated at the state level, and get active federally to make the impacts and bringing people into their towns to take care of the waste, fraud, and abuse at even the local level. And a lot of it's, I'm not even saying it's fraud. A lot of it is waste.
It's waste,
just
inefficiency,
waste. Yeah, like, like we get into this baked-in spending spiral. And I don't think people understand that use it or lose it spending doesn't just exist at the federal level. It exists at the local level too. Like, as soon as you
got a
gotta
budget,
spend
and
your
hey,
whole
we
budget.
gotta find a way to spend it, right?
Yeah.
And I really appreciate what you just said, and that's kind of the point that the timing of this is almost perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And and like Andy mentioned before, which there's never too early. Politics are about 6 to 8 months out, and people haven't even announced yet. But I think this is a perfect time for us to start and build these connections and build these roots right now. And like you said, I mean, people are kind of having this lull of the general election. But no, we need to get up and fight. Like, I woke up after the election, I was like, what's next? I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to take a vacation for 3 months. I'm like, and I had people calling me, what's next? Because they had that excitement from Trump. And I said, we got to get local. We got to focus on local stuff. And it's not glamorous, but I think getting some of these testimonies coming in, getting some of these events, like we're breaking views online, we're getting pretty viral, and there's 2 events that we did over the weekend. People like that engagement and saying, wow, okay, maybe I can show up to the next protest or something like that. We just need to keep building this momentum. And so, yeah, it's a perfect timing for what we're doing. We just need more people involved and more people to understand what we're trying to do here.
I like the shirts, guys. I like the
Appreciate
shirts.
it.
I like the merch. People can buy those from you guys?
Not quite yet, but we're working on it. These are sample T-shirts, but they're coming. We'll have a meeting this week about it, so we'll get some merch out in the very near future.
Nice. Well, hopefully I can make it up there for the cruise, and hopefully I can make it on. I'm planning on being there on June 6th to support, and let's get active. Have the other grassroots leaders around the state reached out to you?
I've had some. It's been a weird. Like I said, you have these different pockets, and there's egos involved in different things. They've definitely shared my stuff, and some of their people have come over, which is great. And so, I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes. We have our own lane we're riding in, and other groups are doing their own thing. So we're a separate entity, and we're focused on a singular kind of mission here. So we're not competing, and that's why I'm bringing in people, because this isn't competing. Like I said, we agree on 90% of the issues. Let's just focus on the 9 out of 10 things we agree on, and just the 10% we can deal with another time or kind of play around with, or, you can have open discussions about it. But we agree on, like I said, 90% of the stuff. It's like, how are we fighting and bickering? And you have all these little egos and these little infighting, and that's why we keep losing elections.
I think people need to understand that we're basically in a war, and you're building a military unit, right? You have your you have your riflemen, you have your mortarmen, you have your machine gunners, you have your artillerymen, you have your people who have different specialties, functions, interests, and niche issues that they are just perfect on. 100%. And we need to bring each one of those into the fold to work towards a common goal while they can still have their specialty. They don't have to ditch it, but hey, let's all fire in the same direction and get as far as we can with each other before we have to step to the side and we have to handle our own stuff. Because, like, that's how you win. Yeah. It's not about the name on the front of the jersey. It's the name on the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's exactly our philosophy, so we appreciate you.
No, I'm sorry. It's not the name on the back of the jersey. It's the name on the front. I got that the exact
opposite. You can do the front and the back.
In other words, a good offense wins.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And what you just said, Julian, is so perfectly dovetails with something that has been a passion of mine for a long time, which is that I sincerely believe that we are at the most crucial moment in this country, civically and politically, since probably Pearl Harbor, when we went to war first with Japan and then Germany. We're at a critical moment in this country's history, and if the next two election cycles, not only at the state and federal level but locally, turn in a way that is against the way of life that we all love and cherish, there's no guarantee we get it back. So we need to fight now.
Exactly. That, like, the left, I don't think people realize how far the left has gone towards accomplishing their goals of having this post-humanist, intersectional, Marxist society that they want so much, the dystopia that they pray for so damn much. But we've gotten so close to that. And the only reason that we won is because they pushed too far too fast. Because they saw, we were marching downfield and they saw the end zone, so they decided to run it up the center, and we sacked them.
They're fumbling on the 1 yard line, right?
We blitzed, we sacked them, and now we got the ball, and we have the opportunity to run it back down the field and score a touchdown for America as Americans. And you got Trump leading the way up there, but we all need to do our part in our states, and we all need to do our part at the local level. Otherwise, what he does up there doesn't matter, because the infrastructure the left has spent 100 years building, taking over institutions, academia, media, Hollywood, the music industry, popular culture, education, they're just going to be right back in the exact same position as soon as he's out of office. And I think the most disheartening thing at the federal level is the amount of people who are Republicans who ran on Trump, said all the right things, but are now the ones obstructing the ability to get anything done. They're not solidifying the DOGE cuts. They're not solidifying any of the policy. They're up there, like they're doing the two-step, and they'll go out in front of the microphone, say the things that we all want to hear, and then when it comes time to deliver, it's, I got nothing for you. And I'm like, no, I understand it's not popular to start, locking people up and perp walking people and open investigations into people in D.C. But guess what? There's been waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption for the past 100 years, and somebody has to go down for it. There has to be that initial, what was it? In Hollywood, it was Harvey Weinstein. First, it was Harvey Weinstein. Then we got Jeffrey Epstein. Then he didn't kill himself. Now we got Diddy. Like, the dominoes got to start somewhere.
You have all
Somebody's got to go.
And to your point, you have all these scandals, and then it kind of like, no one even talks about Harvey Weinstein anymore. And you just brought him up. It's like, and even the Epstein stuff, yeah, it's here and there, but we've been so sensitized because they have all these drops. Oh, we're going to release these tapes. We're going to release these names, and then it doesn't happen. And we're all just like, you just get apathy, you get tired of it. And the Diddy stuff too. It's like we're waiting for the big reveal, and then nothing happens. Like he's in court. There's stuff going on, but it's like we need that big thing to break. And
they make it more about the man themselves. I'm like, no, I don't. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. I don't give a shit about him anymore. I want you to publicize the list. Show me the list. Right? Like, there were dudes on that island buying shit. There were women on that island buying shit. There were shit tons of people, powerful people on the Lolita Express. I want them all exposed. I want them all to go down. Show me the fucking list. And it's like, with Diddy, the dude had his whole house wired with cameras. Diddy parties are legendary. So legendary that my boy Isaiah Washington posted up a challenge after the shit came out and posted the No Diddy challenge. Show me
No Diddy.
how many of you people in Hollywood can honestly say you haven't gone to a Diddy party. That's right. All of you have. The numbers are so freaking small of people who haven't, you can count them on your hands. So now I'm sitting there going, I want you all exposed. I want you exposed. Which one of you bought a 14-year-old hooker? Which one of you did this? Which one of you did that? Expose them all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you got sexually deviant lifestyles. I don't give a shit about that. Keep that shit behind closed doors. But what I care about is the illegal shit, the sex trafficking, the human trafficking. Show me the list. Expose it all. Like, I'm sick of watching these people get away. We're supposed to live in a society where justice is blind, right? We're supposed to live equal justice under the law, but it's not equal justice under the law when the people who are powerful, who have powerful friends, get to just slide on by. They get to electric slide right out the door going, it wasn't me.
But the soul of America is at stake, you see, Julian. That's what President Biden's been saying for 8 years.
The soul of America is at stake. Major heads of federal agencies and some royalty around the world even, partied with Epstein on his island. But hey, the soul of America is at stake because heaven forbid you get the guy in office who wants to, make transparency, accountability, efficiency, and that's what they're scared of. Because transparency breeds accountability. It creates a cry for accountability.
Well, it ends their system, right? It ends their gravy train. So
yeah, so I'm so glad you guys came on. I know you guys got to get going, but what are the event you guys are going to today? What was it? It's in Hampton.
Yep.
Let's throw the flyer up for that. I want people to go to this.
Yeah, so we're heading there, right? I mean, it's almost been every day. We've been doing interviews, running to events. We have another gentleman promoting us at a GOP event tonight because we're here. So things have been really ramping up for us. So, we're going to a fundraiser in Hampton tonight. So that starts about 6, but that's all right. We'll show up a few minutes late, fashionably late. It goes till 9 p.m., so we're good. It's going to be a Christian dance party, so it's a kind of a unique event, bringing some of the younger crowd and Christian crowd. So it's called Boogies at 32 Depot Square in Hampton, New Hampshire. So it's about 8 minutes from the beach. So join us tonight if you're in the area, and we'll have a great time.
Hell yeah. I love, when I was growing up in Dayton, Ohio, there was a youth club that they had at a church, and it was every, Friday and Saturday night. And they had a DJ, and they were playing... they would play some secular music, but secular music that didn't have a degenerate, message behind it.
Yeah.
But they played a lot of, Christian rap back in the day, 90s Christian rap, and it wasn't the best. It's gotten way better, mostly because styles and lyricism within the Christian rap community have grown over the years. But I'm glad to see, let's get the young people involved. Get out there, dance, just to dance and have a good time. You don't have to get into the degeneracy and all the crazy stuff. You could still be young and dumb and stupid and have a good time. And, not go down that lane of getting yourself into a lifestyle that's going to end up being detrimental to you later on. Yeah. You can keep your values and still have a good time.
Absolutely.
All right. So I think we're heading up on a good break so these guys can get out and make it over there to Hampton. Again, everybody who's watching the podcast, go to Citizen DOGE. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, they can find us on Facebook and X. X account is, I believe, at Citizens DOGE USA, all lowercase, at Citizens DOGE USA. Any submissions on news items happening locally that you think we would be well worth knowing about, you can send to citizensdoge@gmail.com. And
our website is citizensdoge.com is the website. Yeah.
Right. And we want to thank you again, Julian, for letting us on the show.
Oh, no problem. I will have you guys back next week. We're going to be delving into some of the more pop culture things and some of the crazy stuff happening in Hollywood and with the Diddy trial and RG3 and pop culture and stuff like that.
Good time,
so, everybody, go ahead and subscribe, Blue Collar Intellectual, and subscribe on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And we have a TikTok page. We'll be linking that and showing that as well. We'll be back with you in a few moments. United We Stand, A Marine's Fight. Written by Jullian Acciard. I wrote this book to decipher through the tumultuous political dialogue and political gangbanging we see on both sides of the aisle between politicians, activists, influencers, and pundits, and get down to brass tacks solutions in order to save our republic. Again, United We Stand, A Marine's Fight, written by Jullian Acciard. You can purchase the book on Amazon, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble.
Would you rather spend time with family and friends in the pool or at the barbecue rather than landscaping your yard? Well, Augusta Lawn Care is here to help you with all of your landscaping needs. Proudly serving southern New Hampshire, we handle everything. Weekly mowing, spring and fall cleanups, bush trimming, mulch installs, lawn treatments, aeration, dethatching, and even snow plowing and salting when the dreaded winter hits. Call Augusta Lawn Care today and let your yard be the best looking yard on the block. Call 603-331-4768. Augusta Lawn Care, locally owned, professionally done. Call 603-331-4678 or visit us online at AugustaLawnCareServices.com/Londonderry. That's AugustaLawnCareServices.com/Londonderry.
Not everyone can get up every day and look for ways to piss people off. But here at GraniteRock.com, we do that almost every day. I can't tell you how many times someone's lost their SHIT and threatened to end us. But we're still here, pissing people off. It's almost like we enjoy it. And we've been doing it since 2006. That's almost 2 decades of news, politics, and opinion, and now podcasts, and we're just getting started. We believe in principles before parties and politicians. We defend free markets and individual liberty, and if that makes you mad, it makes us smile. We're like Grandma after she stopped caring what other people thought. If that sounds refreshing, you need to check us out. This is Steve McDonald for Granite Rock, and we'll keep shining the light on them for you.
This could be the moment we've been waiting for, the chance to feel alive.
Sometimes we forget we live in one of the most beautiful states in the country. This summer, vacation right here and discover your new.
This is where it all begins. This is where it all begins.
All right, welcome back to Blue Collar Intellectual podcast. We're going to be going through our update for news this week. We have multiple major stories going on, so let's run through them real quick before the end of the hour. All right, first up, we have the White House details of 401k style accounts for newborn babies in Trump tax package. So. As we've seen with the Trump administration, Trump is trying really, really hard, and he's over at Capitol Hill today trying to push the, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and he's getting a lot of pushback even from within the Republican Party over that. But this is a big one that's going to allow for kids, for parents to plan for children's future going forward. So we have that, and Caroline Leavitt. They just got back from the Middle East, and I gotta say, Caroline Leavitt is absolutely kicking ass in D.C. right now. She has revamped the entire media infrastructure of the White House so far and has made it not just alternative media friendly, but social media friendly. So now she has a weekly MAGA Minute where she runs down every major event that's happened within the Trump administration in a act of proactive messaging, which is something I've been screaming from the rooftops for years about, that the GOP needed to get on board with proactive messaging to reach the people who don't have time to sit down and decipher through the news. Next up, we have, and this is Scott Adams, the creator and writer for Dilbert. Yes, you remember Dilbert, the Saturday morning cartoon, newspaper cartoon. He has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Yes, the same type of cancer that Joe Biden was just diagnosed with. Okay, so he says he only has a few months to live. This sucks, we've lost a lot of, major impact. I want to say impactful celebrities in recent years like this one, it's a little personal because I've had conversations with him and he supported some of my work, and, this is really unfortunate. Again, Hillary Clinton mocks conservative women, says a Republican female president would be a handmaiden to the patriarchy. Once again, I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. The asinine nature of pretending as if the most powerful woman in the world would be somehow a cudgel for the patriarchy. Are we shitting ourselves right now? But let me be honest for a moment, because while I know Hillary Clinton is a bastard and she's full of shit and she's off her frickin' rocker because the Democrats are 100% supportive of the patriarchy taking over women's roles in sports and locker rooms and, mantles and success and accolades and so on and so forth. But name me a matriarchal society that has actually been successful. And you can't say, well, they were successful, but they were conquered by someone else. That would mean that they're not successful. Patriarchal societies, men are the foundation for society. Our job is to protect women and to protect children and to put ourselves into the fray and sacrifice for those around us and to build up an infrastructure so that women can accomplish their dreams and that they can be equal and they can have everything that they have. And we have had strong women beside us all throughout history to help us with that. All right. It's just we're living in this fantasy land and pretending we can rewrite all of human history in order to satisfy our momentary whims. Next up, we have Donald Trump moves DOJ funds used for transgender projects and DEI to support law enforcement. Okay. Now, I know within, some of the protests that have gone on in recent years, they pretend as if this is somehow, we're crashing and we're burning and now we're federalizing the police. No, he's just taking money for projects that had nothing to do with accomplishing anything tangible for the American people and moving it towards something to help make our communities safer and help provide police officers with the resources they need. I've talked to Keith Hansen many times on Grand State Live and in private about how police officers need more resources for training, mental health, and stuff like that. And this is definitely something that I think we should take a serious look at. All right, from Fox News, and from the Department of Justice, we will use money to get criminals off the street, seize drugs, and in some cases, fund programs that deliver tangible impact for victims of crime. What's so controversial about that? I have no idea. But, then again, the Democrats have decided to take the position of supporting illegal immigrants and cartel members over American citizens, which is probably why they lost the election. They can't read the room. All right, next up we have the X-Men reboot. Yeah, this one, they're Hollywood is just, I swear they're pissing on us without even the courtesy of calling it rain at this point. I'm a big comic book fan, and I've seen all the movies. I grew up on this shit. And I am, as a black man, I am loving black representation in Hollywood. But I don't need you to take away white roles of white characters Let's be honest, these aren't new characters. The X-Men characters, Magneto and Professor X, have been around for like 60 freaking years. I don't need you to rewrite a character just to put another black man in there. There are plenty of black heroes in these comic books. There are plenty of black heroes out there. Make a movie about Icon or Blue Marvel. For fuck's sake. I mean, actually finish the Spawn, or make a new Spawn movie, or finish the Blade movie, for Christ's sakes. Stop pissing everybody off. You're actually driving people in the opposite direction of what you say you want. It drives people away from this shit because it makes people see you obviously doing it for a purpose, for a political purpose. It's not to make the movie better, because your movies are getting worse because you just can't stop. And that's aside of the fact that they're I love Denzel Washington. I'm not, nothing against him. Absolutely love him. The tallest building, while Trump was in the Middle East, okay, and he was down talking to foreign dignitaries down there, having his summit and trying to create, do his art of the deal, right? He was greeted with the tallest building in the world, saluting the United States with the stars and stripes. America is back, baby. You got the world is excited to deal with a strong American leader again. Do you understand how much of a laughingstock we were with Biden, who can't even remember where he is, when he served in the Senate, who he's married to, or what bills he signed on to? The 50 years of horrible record that he has. The Department of Justice under Pam Bondi will not waste discretionary funds on DEI projects that do not make America safer. Again, that goes back to the story I was just talking about. They're pivoting funds away from all this shit that the federal government's been involved in. Let's get rid of the pet projects and get back to the stuff that actually matters. If you can't do simple stuff like secure our borders, and you can't do simple stuff like make the government run efficiently, you can't pass a budget, you can't stop shipping our tax dollars overseas to whatever foreign war you want to get involved in today, and you can't do very, very, very simple stuff that's in the Constitution, like protecting the inalienable rights of individuals to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, fuck your pet projects. I have zero interest in funding them. Get out of here with that bullshit. All right, and this is one that touches the heart. You all remember the little boy that, was there at the State of the Union address and Trump's inauguration. DJ Daniel sworn in as U.S. Border Patrol agent after already being sworn in as a U.S. Secret Service agent. I swear to God, this kid is racking up pensions right now. This kid is going to be well funded. He's going to be making more money than me soon. I think the going rate for Border Patrol is somewhere around like $86,000 a year, up to $120 in some cases, depending on how much danger. And I guarantee Secret Service isn't getting a small paycheck in D.C. All right, then we got Pope Leo the 14th affirms family based on union between a man and a woman. And I know this shouldn't be surprising, but, given the previous popes we had who delved into wokeism, this is an example of, tolerance but not acceptance. I'm completely fine with the Pope doing exactly what a Pope should. It would be weird if he didn't. Trump slams birthright citizenship as SCOTUS arguments begin. Again, this is another big fight that's going to take a lot of political capital, and it's about correcting the issues and the loopholes and the problems that we've had with people coming over here and using birther tourism to solidify their lineage. And we've seen it less so we've seen a lot of it coming over the border, people coming in illegally, then having a baby here so that they can use them as an anchor baby. And we've had a lot of birther tourism of people who come here on vacation, have their baby here, and now that baby is an American citizen, and they can fast track their immigration here to the United States. Judge Janine Pirro sworn in as interim U.S. attorney. Chalk up another win for MAGAville right there, right? She's been a big Trump supporter, and she's finally getting something for it. And I'm hoping that as U.S. attorney, as interim U.S. attorney, she's going to start, You have these couples that want to live their best life and they don't want to have kids and they want to have kids later. You're having people splitting up, not settling down. Abortion rates are at all-time highs. I mean, marriage rates are declining. This is a conglomerate of a whole lot of stuff. Plus, societies as a whole, the more civilized and self-centered we get, the less children we have. This is just how it goes. You know, people want to travel and go on vacations. It's not necessarily that, you know, liberal women are fat and ugly, and that's why nobody wants to have babies with them. All right, coming up on the end of it, even, you know, Justice Sotomayor, even if your parents secured citizenship illegally, you're still a citizen. So as far as I see it, this order violates 4 Supreme Court precedents. Now, let me be completely clear. There is no such thing as securing citizenship illegally. If you secured citizenship illegally, meaning you're in the United States illegally, you're not a citizen. Deport your ass. Kick your ass right back over the border. I have zero sympathy for you. I used to be sympathetic. I'm not anymore. I don't care. Trump awarded UAE's highest civilian honor by country's president. Way to go, Trump. Again, America is back, baby. And we are at the end of the show. We're wrapping up again. Please follow us on all major platforms, on X, Instagram, Facebook, and yes, now we have a TikTok, Blue Collar Intellectual or The Blue Collar Intellectual. Look us up on everything. Again, go to Amazon, buy my book, United We Stand, A Marine's Fight. It's time to get past the tumultuous dialogue and start focusing on solutions. Stop paying attention to the grifters. Avoid and, have your mass exodus from the algorithmic abyss on social media. And let's get active in our local communities, state, and federal in that order. Secure your families, your communities, your state, and the federal government. Thank you. We'll have you back again next week on the Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast. We have plenty of new things coming in future days for you. God bless. God bless America. United We Stand, A Marine's Fight. Written by Jullian Acciard. I wrote this book to decipher through the tumultuous political dialogue and political gangbanging we see on both sides of the aisle between politicians, activists, influencers, and pundits, and get down to brass tacks solutions in order to save our republic. Again, United We Stand, A Marine's Fight, written by Jullian Acciard. You can purchase the book on Amazon, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble.
And what kind of player am I? Am I an offensive man or a defensive man? That's right, I'm neither. I play my opponent. If he likes to attack, I force him to defend himself. If he's a cautious man, I draw him into dangerous water. See, you get so frustrated playing defensive positions, you make stupid moves you never make if you were thinking. When you come here, boy, check that shit at the door,
I'm at the top of my game, cut the check. Somebody better king me, I'm the best. Let's play a game of checkers. Better yet, the game don't love nobody. Let's play chess.